People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the wide world of Weingarten.
Wide World of Weingarten, episode 35. It is 6 p.m., December 14th here in Los Angeles. You'll excuse me, you might see me turning my head a bunch during this episode. I have stuff up on one of the screens next to me right over here that I'll be reading some stats off of. So if you see me kind of flipping between stuff, that's what I'm looking at. But let's dive right in. The Monday Night Football recap last night. The Rams got back into the NFC West division race with a 30-23 victory on the road against the Cardinals. Might have been enough to drop Kingsbury out of the Coach of the Year race. No disrespect for him, but Belichick is the favorite in the clubhouse, as they say. If you see all the articles coming out, all the stuff, it's all saying Belichick should win. Even Cliff Kingsbury said Belichick should win. He said Belichick should win every year, which I said a week ago or so. So I agree with him. But last night's game was just a clear example of how football games are and always have been and most likely always will be won in the trenches. The Rams won on offense. They beat the Cardinals defensive line, gave Matt Stafford time to throw. He completed 23 of 30 for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns, including 12 or 13. Yep, 13 for 123 to Cooper Kupp, who we'll talk about more in a little bit. But the game, like I said, was won in the trenches. I'm going to go with in the trenches. It was one in the trenches. Aaron Donald had 3 sacks. He dominated. He took over the game. If you heard me talk about the Cliff Crystal book, Playmakers, Busts, Franchise Makers, Sleepers, whatever, the most important book I said on NFL scouting, on the draft, basically the Bible of information with scouting stuff in the NFL. Aaron Donald is one of those 25 players that could take over a game, could change a game. You absolutely saw it last night against the Cardinals. He took over. He couldn't be blocked. He couldn't be double teamed. He had 3 sacks. He created the pressures that led to those interceptions that kept Kyler Murray on his toes, and he really showed that he is still the best defensive player in the NFL. No disrespect to Myles Garrett, but Aaron Donald, 8-1 defensive player of the year. I think that's worth taking a stab at now after this game, especially if they could beat Seattle this week. But it does look like there's some COVID issues. I delayed recording this a little bit today because I wanted to get a better handle on what was going on in the NFL with COVID. I don't think there's going to be any game delays this weekend, but I did see the Raiders and the Rams games, and the Chiefs, Chargers for that matter, with Slater and Jones out for LA and Kansas City. I've seen all those lines move a little bit, but keep in mind that unless you were really fast to pick off like a Raiders plus 4.5 that's down to 3, you don't have to rush to necessarily pick off some of these games with COVID stuff. If you notice, the Rams yesterday, as soon as I got done recording, they announced Jalen Ramsey and Tyler Higbee, both starters. Jalen Ramsey, one of the best players, second best player on defense behind Aaron Donald, were both out yesterday, and the line only moved half a point. And I thought it was odd that with all the announced players out, that the line only moved half a point as I was sitting here. But I thought that was actually a good sign, and it really encouraged me that I was already on the right side with the Rams. And like I said, that whole game was just an example of how a football game is not based on records. It's about how you play on the offense and defensive line. Aaron Donald and the Rams defensive line created havoc. They collapsed the pocket. They forced turnovers. They created the pressure that forced the turnovers, and they got them back in the NFC West race for the division. And obviously, I also got to talk about Cooper Kupp real quick. He's currently leading the NFL in all major receiving categories, including what would be a receiving triple crown. He's at 113 receptions, 1,489 yards, outside chance of hitting 2,000. He leads the league with 12 touchdowns. He also has the most over 20-yard receptions, or second most, I think. Leads the league in yards per game at 114 and a half, 0 fumbles, 647 yards after the catch, which I think is pretty impressive, and 70 first downs. I bet him to win MVP at 200 to 1, at 150 to 1, all the way down to 80 to 1. I think I got it to win probably like $200,000 or probably even more than that at this point. But I think it's a reasonable bet. I think his odds are still relatively lucrative across the board. Not necessarily, I wouldn't play 65 to 1, but that 200 to 1 number is still available at BetMGM. I would definitely play that. Tom Brady obviously having a great season, and I'll jump right in, I guess, to MVP stuff, just right from there. But you got to go to Circa. You got to go to Circa first to get a gauge on the MVP. And today, just in the movement today, and Circa I consider, the bellwether of the market. And just since this morning when I started doing this outline until now, when I started recording, Circa opened Tom Brady at plus 120. He's now minus 175. So he's in line with the rest of the market. Circa's in line with the rest of the market for MVP. I think that's a little high on Brady, but I understand you have to go that high to prevent people from betting on him. Circa opened him plus 120 today, like I said, and people obviously liked it enough that Circa had to move the number. But like I said, at this point in the season, with every game and every week that goes by, you could start knocking players out of contention. And at this point, Brady's the favorite. Aaron Rodgers is second. He's about 525 at Circa right now. Matt Stafford's third at 10 to 1. Jonathan Taylor's somehow 14 to 1. I'm not sure I necessarily get that, but with Cooper Kupp doing the stuff he's doing, you're definitely setting yourself up for a position where you could lose money on Taylor to win Offensive Player of the Year and MVP right now at bad numbers. Justin Herbert might slightly be alive. I would not count him or Patrick Mahomes out, especially with them playing on Thursday in primetime. The winner of that game should probably see their odds drop. Probably the fourth favorite quarterback maybe. But I think last night after the 2 interceptions and the loss, you can count Kyler Murray out this season. So the remaining contenders are Brady, Rodgers, Stafford, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, I guess Josh Allen, but I don't think he's going to win. And then Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor would be your best non-quarterback, non-defensive options. I don't think with Cooper Kupp potentially going for the receiving yards record, a receiving triple crown, a division title, the only comps you're really getting for him for his production are Jerry Rice. I think he should be lower than 200 to 1, maybe slightly lower than 80 to 1. I don't know how much lower he should necessarily get. And I don't know if he could necessarily even jump Matt Stafford. That if Stafford kind of keeps putting up the numbers he's doing, and if Brady was to somehow lose, I think Stafford might get more votes than Cooper Kupp. But if you're not seriously going to consider Cooper Kupp, if he really does get 2,000 yards or close to 2,000 yards, if you're not going to consider him and he hits a receiving triple crown and leads the league in every category, then you really have to rename the MVP the Best Quarterback Award, because nobody else could win it. There's just no criteria that you could think of that makes any player as valuable as a quarterback. And I understand the line of thinking that quarterbacks are so valuable that any quarterback should always win this award over, an Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett or a Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry or Cooper Kupp. I mean, I totally get that, but I think that's wrong. I don't think that does the term most valuable justice. It's not the best stats, and I think we get caught up in that, especially with Tom Brady. When you drill down on his numbers and you see he has 36 touchdowns. Maybe 8 of those were absolute garbage time touchdowns in blowouts. It's not as impressive. Then you look at his performance in losses against the Rams. He was outperformed by Mac Jones when they beat the Patriots week 2 or 3, 17-19. He was totally outperformed. Not totally, but slightly outperformed by Mac Jones. That was a win the Bucs let slip away with I think it was a late fumble or a missed field goal or something. But it's not going to surprise me if Brady wins. I get it. They have the easiest strength of schedule left this season too, so that's something they got going for them. But if you're looking for a very big number to add to your MVP portfolio, and you're like me and you don't have any Tom Brady exposure, and you don't want to, plug several $1,000s onto Tom Brady at minus 175 to hedge Stafford and Mahomes and my small position on Kirk Cousins and Lamar Jackson. You don't want to, Mac Jones too. You don't want to cover all that stuff at minus 175. I think Cooper Kupp is your best option, but you're drawing dead to Brady. I'm drawing dead to Brady. Gonna take a break right now, and then I'm gonna come back and go into the rest of the awards markets. Welcome back. Wide World of Weingarten, just coming back from a little break. Had to take a drink of water there. Get ready for the second half of this. But if you're just tuning in, I don't know why you would skip halfway through, but if you are, the favorite for the MVP is Tom Brady. The remaining contenders are Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Jonathan Taylor, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Cooper Kupp. Your winner, if it's not going to be Tom Brady, is going to come from that group of players. On to the next market, the offensive rookie of the year. Going to do that next. This market has not changed this week. It is Mac Jones minus 450, Jamar Chase plus 625. If you're using the circa numbers like I use, the other fringe contenders would be Claude Humphrey, the center on the Chiefs, who's having a very good season, who is anchoring their new offensive line. But to be honest, I can't see a center winning. I don't think I'd bet 20-1, sir, because the only place that has that. And then Jalen Waddle, 22-1. He's going to have to do some crazy stuff the last couple weeks. 5, 6 touchdowns, might not even do it. Maybe Mac Jones loses 3-4 straight games or something. If you do like Jalen Waddle, there's some big prices out there still. I saw 66-1, 80-1, etc. Rashawn Slater, he's the fifth option, 40-1. Chargers offensive tackle. I made the argument before the season that he was good bet at 100-1, at 200-1. I still stand by that. As you see, he's top 5. An offensive lineman 1 year will eventually win the offensive rookie of the year. I thought Slater had a chance this year with his play, but he hasn't done the things necessary that any offensive lineman would have to do to win an offensive rookie of the year. So we're gonna just have to play that again next year on the next legendary offensive lineman that comes through. But Mac Jones has this award, like I said, penciled his name in. Although the Patriots are underdogs this week, 2.5-point underdogs to Indy, which I did not necessarily expect when I saw these numbers open this week. Especially the 2.5 means you could use it in a Wong teaser at 8.5. Obviously something I'll be doing with the Patriots, but a big game for them. I would not lay. I said I'd lay 400 last week. I would not lay minus 450 this week, only because going into a loss, I think you can get a better price next week in the event that the Patriots lose. So yeah, this market I think is pretty much spoken for Mac Jones, but I would wait to play a better price. Jalen Waddle 65-1 DraftKings, I think even higher at BetMGM. Defensive Rookie of the Year, we have a one-way race with Micah Parsons. I think he's minus 10,000 on DraftKings. He's played so well that he broke into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation and is currently second or third favorite at a bunch of these sports books, which is crazy. I think it would be unprecedented if he wins. It wouldn't be unreasonable if he wins. I think the way he's playing, he's grading out slightly better than even Myles Garrett. But like I said earlier, I think to me it's still pretty obvious after last night that Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the NFL. And after I watched Myles Garrett last weekend, I think he's got a shot too. The odds have said he's always got a shot, and that I'm just a hater, and that might be true. But we'll go over defensive player of the year next. But Micah Parsons, congratulations! That was like I said, a home run pick for the Cowboys. Offensive player of the year, two-way race between Kupp and Taylor. DraftKings has it Kupp plus 125, Taylor plus 150. I've seen other books with Taylor 125, Kupp 150, Deebo Samuel 25-1, James Conner 25-1, 35-1, Devontae Adams 35-1. All fringe candidates. Sorry, not going to win this year. It's Kupp or Taylor. Hard to say who's going to win. I'm not going to make a pick there. I think it's between these two guys. I wouldn't play them at these numbers, but I wonder if there's a situation where one could win MVP and one could win Offensive Player of the Year. Gotta keep an eye on that. Maybe we'll reassess that market with the MVP after this weekend. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett probably gonna win. Aaron Donald, I think 8-1 is a good price at this point, with TJ Watt at 3-1, likely on the team that's gonna miss the playoffs. Micah Parsons, 3.5-1. I don't think I can lay a big bet. I wouldn't bet like $2,000-3,000 or as much as I could. If I could bet more than that on Parsons at 3.5-1, I think that'd just be dumping money at this point. And then the next tier guys, the sort of all pro tier that are going to probably be first team all pros, but not really get consideration. Trevon Diggs keeps slipping with Parsons gaining. It's the sort of the teammate thing where they cannibalize votes. And then Matt Judon slipping. He's back to 14-1. I don't necessarily get that. I think he should be higher, but like I said, I think Aaron Donald should be higher. I think Aaron Donald should win. So hard to really go deeper than that. And then Nick Bosa, J.C. Jackson, Trey Hendrickson, all great players, probably first team all pros this year. Hendrickson deserves a lot of credit, but nothing. Bengals squandering easy wins. Not gonna get him consideration. And then Coach of the Year, I said Bill Belichick's not gonna win. That he should win General Manager of the Year. I stand by that. I think he should not win Coach of the Year. And I think this market could see a little bit of a shakeup this weekend if the Patriots lose to the Colts, and reminded they're underdog. So the bookmakers are saying come and bet Bill Belichick as an underdog. If you think he's Coach of the Year, why don't you just bet him to win this weekend? So I think we might see a shakeup if the Patriots do lose this weekend. I don't want them to lose. I want I have money on the Patriots to do well. I have more money on them to do well than I do on them to miss the playoffs or anything. Got stuck with a position on that early in the season. But if Belichick does falter this weekend, the Patriots lose, you could see a little bit of a Kingsbury rebound. I think I don't think Sean McVay is going to win. I do think Brandon Staley at 14-1 or higher, if there's a better number than 14, is worth considering. If the Chargers beat the Chiefs on Thursday night, and Brandon Staley could say he swept the Chiefs, the defending AFC winners, the AFC West champions. He can say he swept them. I think that might get him some serious consideration back for Coach of the Year. And like I said, Bill Belichick is not Coach of the Year, because if he's Coach of the Year, then he's always Coach of the Year. He wins this award every year till he retires. This is an award for the coach who does the most with the least. This is an award for the coach who builds something for the first time, not the third time or the I guess, third or fourth time because the first dynasty went through multiple iterations. But Bill Belichick deserves General Manager of the Year for all the moves he made, not the coaching he's doing. Although the coaching he's doing is just at a masterful level because he's Bill Belichick and that's what he always does. So I do think we see a shakeup here. I think Zach Taylor, who I've been very fond of, is probably drawing dead. Keep an eye on Brian Flores. If the Dolphins win this week, I've spoken about him a lot. Still some decent numbers on him, not the best numbers. I don't think I mentioned this before, but I requested him at Circa a couple weeks ago. Brian Flores, he wasn't listed, and they opened him at 500 to 1. And then I got busy, and this was like a Monday or a Tuesday. They opened him, and Jeff Benson actually messaged me to tell me it was open. And I was like, great, I'll take a look, I'll take care of it, whatever. And I got busy, I wasn't paying attention. I went to look the next day, and it was like 95 to 1. And I was like, Jeff, damn, I didn't even get that number. I was, and it wasn't his fault, it was my fault I didn't get the number. It was up for a whole day. He was like, yeah, we got hit hard on that. So I know it was a good bet. I'm a little bummed I didn't get it. Still 75 to 1 at Circa. 65 to 1 I see at DraftKings. And, like 75 to 1 is still a great number. You put $100 on that, you win $7,500. You put $500 on that, get, what was that, 35 plus, it's like 37.50 or something. 37,500. It's a pretty good return for $500. If you think if you're 2-on, if you think Tua and the Dolphins are going to win this weekend, even though they have no running backs don't matter, by the way. But if you think the Dolphins are going to win this weekend, if you think they can get back to 500, sneak into the playoffs, I've seen a lot of the playoff projection stuff that says the Dolphins most likely miss. I don't think so. I think I'd still probably be betting the Dolphins to make the playoffs at 8 to 1 if I hadn't already bet a bunch of money on them to make the playoffs. But don't count the Dolphins out. Don't count Tua out. He's been a winner his whole life, and they're playing the Jets this weekend. If they can upset the Jets, get to 500, I think there's a decent amount of money to be made on the Dolphins. On Dolphins making the playoffs. Think about it. You can hit an 8 to 1 right now. Dolphins make the playoffs. Get some money on Brian Flores, 75 to 1. Dolphins make the playoffs. Somehow Brian Flores isn't coach of the year. You're still covered. If you bet $500 at 8 to 1, $500 75 to 1, you cover. If the Dolphins make the playoffs, you win the first bet, covers the second bet. If they do make the playoffs and people kind of swing around Brian Flores and potentially, remember week 18. I keep saying week 17 because I'm used to week 17 being the last week of the season, but week 18, Brian Flores versus Bill Belichick. Could that game somehow be for a playoff spot for the Dolphins? Dolphins win. Does Bill Belichick still win Coach of the Year? Does Brian Flores jump him? I might have to bet a little bit more on Brian Flores is what I'm saying, but congratulations to whoever hit that 500 to 1 before me. I hope you bet a lot on it because I didn't get that number. And I should have got that number, but whoever it is out there who got it, I'm sure you're a sophisticated bettor who doesn't listen to my podcast, but I'm going to congratulate you anyways. So keep an eye on Brian Flores. I think of all the long shots, 75 to 1, he could still win. Kevin Stefanski was the winner last year. Circa had him at like 45 to 1 as late as November. I think he was even probably 75 to 1 before that when I didn't bet him. But still got a big number on Stefanski in the middle of the season, so don't necessarily think that you have to bet the favorites and that betting the favorites this late in the season means you're going to win. I think Brandon Staley 14 to 1, Brian Flores 75 to 1. I talked myself into it. I think those are some of the better numbers you're going to get right now. Think about those. I'm going to probably try to bet some more on those tomorrow if I have the opportunity to. And then we have the PNC Championship this weekend in golf. It's kind of one of those swing events. It's a father-son event, which is kind of weird, but the big news is that Tiger Woods is participating in it with his son. He's about 9-1, 10-1, 11-1 I've seen. But this is an offshore-only event, as most legal jurisdictions do not allow betting on events with children, which, I mean, I guess makes sense, but it's golf, so, like, I don't know. If you're golfing, you got to be able to bet on it, or else what's the point? And then we'll just watch golf on TV without betting. It's a little interesting event. If you have a chance to look offshore, you see the guys in the field. Justin Thomas and his dad are favored. I don't know much about the pairings with the kids, to be honest, and I don't even know what course they're playing at, and I really don't care that much. But Nelly Korda's in the field. She's one of the best women's golfers in the world. I don't know if she's the best. She might be the best, but there's a couple other ladies right now who are playing some seriously elite golf, and I'm looking forward to getting into LPGA betting when the new season starts, because it's a lucrative market. All golf betting is lucrative, whether it's men or women's, or Corn Ferry, European Tour, minor tours, whatever. If there's golf odds, and there's value, so I look forward to talking about LPGA stuff more. But Nelly Korda's in the field. Korda's in the field with her father. Her father is a golf professional as well. I bet her at 16-1, just because I'm interested in how the number one women's golfer plays in this event. I have no reason to not think she'll be taking this absolutely seriously. Not that the other other participants won't be. Justin Thomas, obviously, with his father, is like a 2-1 favorite for good reason. Very good golfer. So is his father. I think his father's also a tour pro, or former pro, whatever, club pro. But yeah, you get a chance to check out some preview stuff on this. It'll have good sort of analysis. My analysis is, I bet Nelly Korda 16-1. So if you need some golf action this weekend, that's my pick. I didn't bet it for a ton. I also have noticed that in some of my golf betting accounts recently, I've seen limits go down from 500 to 250 to 100, which is still fine. I mean, if you want to bet $100 at 16-1, good action for a weekend of a father-son golf competition. If we're being honest, maybe $200-300 would be a little nicer, but it's good action. So yeah, need a golf fix. That's where my golf's at this weekend. If you need a long shot future, Brian Flores, Coach of the Year, 75-1, 65-1 is my pick. I'm actually going to bet more money on that. So I'm interested in the Colts game this weekend, because the Colts are going to have to beat the Patriots for there to get anybody back in the Coach of the Year, and then gonna need the Dolphins to knock off the Jets. And the NFL, any given Sunday, anybody could win. No guarantees. I would like everything to work out my way, but can't guarantee it. Can't promise it. I am trying to pull up something real quick here. I wanted to mention an article I read this morning for something we can get into about NFL betting this weekend, but I have to find it first. So just give me one second. I don't like much dead time here. Okay, so Frank Schwab writes for Yahoo Sports, wrote an article that came out today about the 6 truly awful teams in the NFL. The last 2 weeks, they're combined for 11 double-digit losses, and 1-11 against the spread. He says, beware believing you're getting any line value betting on these teams the rest of the season. I think that's wrong, and I don't mean to single out Frank Schwab, who by all accounts is a good writer and a follower of mine on Twitter, actually. So I don't mean to single him out. I'm not saying that he's a bad writer or anything, but being 1-11 against the spread the last 2 weeks, is absolutely the type of situation you would absolutely look for to try to find line value down the stretch. And I would tell you, and I'm going to actually probably do this tonight as well. I meant to do this earlier, but I got sidetracked earlier today, reading news and doing the stuff I do day to day in my normal life. But if you were to take a basket this weekend of the Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, Detroit Lions, New York Jets, New York Giants, and Chicago Bears against the spread, I bet you're going to go 3-3 at worst. You're more likely to go 4-2, 5-1 or 6-0 as you are to go 2-3, 1-4, or whatever. I'm bad at math. 2-4, whatever. You bet those 6 teams: Texans, Jaguars, Lions, Jets, Giants, Bears. I think you go 3-3 at worst. I'm gonna do that. I meant to do that this morning, like I said. Schwab says if you bet on any of these teams week 14, you know how bad they are. None of them covered. None of them came close. Yeah, that's the point. So none of them came close. They're going to keep inflating the lines. Eventually, there's going to be line value. It's not fun. Like I'm not saying that it's enjoyable to bet bad teams. And if you follow gamblers on Twitter, sharp bettors on Twitter, it's always like, oh, sharps are betting the Jaguars. Sharps are betting the Jaguars. Sharps getting their ass kicked betting the Jaguars. I mean, it's been 10 years I've been losing money on the Jaguars, it seems like. But I think this idea that you shouldn't bet these underdogs because they're 1-11 against the spread the last 2 weeks is wrong. And unfortunately, I no longer have the actual Spreadopedia database where I can track this stuff. I know Dr. Bob still does. I might try to see if I can get some of these numbers from him maybe later this week. But yeah, when you have teams that are 1-11 against the spread the last 2 weeks, they're bad teams. It's the end of the season. You will get line value, especially if these teams continue to be double digits in a lot of cases. It doesn't mean it's going to be fun. It doesn't mean you're going to enjoy watching these games or that these games are going to be watchable. But I just thought that sometimes, and we're all guilty of it, myself included, but you got to write stuff to write stuff. You got to get content out there. You got to think of stuff to write. I wrote that Bryce Harper was out of the MVP race right before his odds dropped and he became the favorite. So sometimes you write something, you're just wrong. Like that's what happens. But to say that you shouldn't bet on these bad teams because they're 1-11 against the spread, coming off 2 weeks of blowouts, is bad advice in my book. I think actually the opposite would be true. Going contrarian here, I'm gonna bet a little bit on all 6 of these, and we'll review on Monday if it was profitable or if Frank was right and I'm the asshole here. So gotta check that out. And then last thing for today, gonna grab a baseball card right here behind me, and we're gonna open a baseball card, see what I got. Kind of getting to the real boring part of the baseball off season, especially with this lockout. Not much going on here. I bought this on May 29th. Not sure what I was buying on May 29th. Oh, that's cool. Another decent, cool card. Trevor Rogers autograph, purple Bowman chrome refractor. I bought this card because at the time his Rookie of the Year odds had dropped from 30-1 or whatever he was before the season, to plus 350 or probably even money. He was close to the favorite, and I was really confident that he wasn't going to win, that a pitcher wasn't going to win. But my way to play it was that if he was going to win the Rookie of the Year, I would buy his card. I would buy a couple cards. I think I probably spent $100, a little over $100 on it. Tends to be the range I like to spend on a lot of these autograph first Bowmans if I can get them. But yeah, so I picked this up for probably about $150, And my plan was that if he won Rookie of the Year, I would flip it for a lot more money. And he didn't win Rookie of the Year. He got Rookie of the Year runner-up. He only got one vote. Dan Sembrowski at Fangraphs was the only one who voted for him and wrote a whole column justifying why he was the only one who voted for him and kept John India from being unanimous. But yeah, so this is kind of pitcher card. I don't love pitchers. Most likely card that'll be put back on eBay in the near future. Try to flip it back for whatever I paid for. Thought it was a good investment at the time. Not necessarily a bad investment, but my goal was that if I had bet a future on Trevor Rogers and he didn't win Rookie of the Year, which is what I expected to happen and did happen, I would just be out more money in my betting. So instead, I bought a card, which I know I could sell, and I won't lose very, very much other than, the listing fee or whatever. So worst, I'll be down 10% or I'll lose $15 maybe. So yeah, that's what happens sometimes. You buy cards and you get something and it just goes back up on eBay. I don't really have any attachment to Trevor Rogers, so it's likely that this card will hit the block sooner rather than later. I'm glad I finally opened it. If you stuck around this long, congratulations. I don't think you had anything better to do for almost 40 minutes, but I hope you took some good stuff away from this episode. Aaron Donald 8-1 for Defensive Player of the Year. Cooper Kupp 200-1 MVP. Numbers, big numbers on Rams players. If the Rams beat the Ravens this weekend, you could see those numbers start to drop. Brian Flores, I think if the Dolphins beat the Jets this weekend, if the Patriots lose to the Colts, both are not unrealistic. In fact, the Patriots are dogs. I think you could see Brian Flores jump into the Coach of the Year race. He got runner-up last year, and they play the Patriots Week 18, so I think that's a very good bet at 75-1, 85-1. Like I said, I'm going to go bet some of that now. So thank you for 37 minutes of your time today, 38 minutes, however long it is. Hope you could get some of these numbers because I'm about to go bet some. So thank you for listening.